Hello, hello, hello. Here we are again, a beautiful day and a beautiful Friday. And we have many guests lining up to entertain you, to help you grow and to teach you about digital transformation and sustainability this weekend at the Global Empowerment Summit. This is the fourth weekend of the summit. We started on the 28th of October and we are up for 5 weeks of growth together and transformation together until the 28th of November. So if you are in Kuala Lumpur, don't miss it out. We have our after party on the 27th of November, and we all come together to celebrate. If you are in Kuala Lumpur, please reach out to me and join our party. Otherwise, we have amazing sessions coming up this week, all about digital transformation and sustainability. And next week, it's all about art and fashion, sports and well-being, which will bring a little bit of color to our summit. We have been through a lot. The first weekend was all about business growth. We had the first ever women's startup competition, and we also celebrated businesses, small businesses. We talked about business growth and startup pitching at the masterclass by Roland from Hungary, and we were experiencing a lot of things. Then the second week, we were talking more about personal growth, which was helping us to open this wide perspective. And then we were deep diving into leadership very quickly on the third weekend with all the leaders around the world. And now we are at the digital transformation. I see Todd already in the studio, so I will bring him up. He's my next guest from Black Tie Digital, and he will bring us again another amazing opportunity, an amazing idea and perspective on how to embrace digital and how to find the things that can make your life easier and can make your investments a bit better. So, Todd, I will bring you up and then we figure everything out. And let's just celebrate digital together. Hi, Todd. How are you? I think your communication, your internet is a little bit slower than usual. So I will just unmute you. Let's see the audio, and I let you settle and get better with the internet. Okay, I think you can try to speak now. Until Todd is trying to fix the internet, I will just talk further about what's coming next. So we have Todd talking about a very specific topic that we will soon introduce to you. And then later we will have Web3 with Mirjana. And then after that, we are going into digital skills future. And we will also go to metaverse and with the Meta Shapers and Sharad. We will have some fashion already, artisanal fashion coming up, and we will also have some leveraging Web3 and Metaverse for social good with Jamie. If you have been there already at the Metaverse meetup, we will have another one on the last week. Everything will be dressed in fashion, so you can explore our GEH Metaverse space, so-called, all dressed in the theme of fashion. And now more and more companies like Nike, big brands like Vogue are going into the metaverse, exploring what's possible. So it's no more time to deny it, no more time to resist. We can either get used to it and use it for our best, or we will be left behind. But we will make sure, guys, that you have all the information. This weekend will be all about having a lot of information, putting it right in front of you so that you can apply it bit by bit and you can re-listen to this conversation and you can be introduced to the new technologies coming up. Believe me, I think the best way to describe this, it's what I did with Manoj. It's about being as curious as you can, like a little kid when you first were out in nature, when you first started to walk, because that's exactly the period of time that we are in. Internet is exciting, the new way of meeting people is exciting, and the technology is exciting because I'm seeing Todd coming back. So let's bring him up. Hi, Todd. How are you today?
Very good. Apologies for that. What I was saying is I'm in transit right now. I'm currently in Perth in a hotel room, and I was connected to the hotel's internet, but it was horrible. So I disconnected and blew, hotspotted myself. So we're good.
Perfect. The solution hotspot. Always have a hotspot. So nice to have you here, Todd. And I know this has been an amazing time, and the audience doesn't know, but normally you should be two of you, Jared and you, and I'm sending warm hugs and a lot of positive energies to Jared to get better. So we are all wanting him to feel better because he has some health issues. So yes, fingers crossed so that he gets better as fast as possible. And today we will talk with you about something very exciting. But before we get there, Todd, the audience doesn't know we never talk. So please introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit about who is Todd, what's your purpose?
Cool. So my name is Todd Pierce. I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at Black Tie Digital. And for those, I missed the little intro part. So we effectively do blockchain as a service. So we effectively work in legacy industries and kind of figure out how we can integrate Web3 with those industries, such as real estate, which is a sector that we're currently working in right now. My purpose, though, really, I've got an extensive coaching background as well. I've done it since 2010. I think I got into coaching and hypnotherapy. So I've also got that side to my persona as well. So, anything that can help people improve the quality of their lives, whether that's from a mindset perspective through to, a wealth perspective, because, those two things, in my opinion, work hand in hand. Most definitely, you need to have the right mindset to become wealthy. And then when you have wealthy, it kind of reinforces a good mindset sometimes. So that's like the short version.
It's like I know that we have been introduced to Wasim, and I get to know Wasim like a few years back, and he's also on this path of self-discovery, and he's also doing the business from the mindset perspective, helping people to accept money mindset and to get into this space where you are not afraid to risk or not afraid to have a safe risk that you are willing to risk in these markets. And a lot of things are coming up. Everything is so excited. I just had an amazing conversation with Manoj from US, and he's in the AI space. He's all in this new world, and it's just amazing what technology is capable of today. And I'm so excited to have this conversation with you about this, what it holds. And I know that Black Tie is doing amazing things. So you are supporting people to get closer to a lot of things that normally are not accessible by helping them to educate themselves about it first and then safely get into the space. So tell me about this. Tell me a little bit about this activity.
Yeah, cool. So right now what we're doing is we're currently launching a platform called Be For Real. And it's all about the integration of a traditional real estate market with the Web3 market, because, there's two big problems that we identified. The first problem that you've got is you've got I guess, not avoidance, but a bit of an obstacle or a roadblock that prevents the, run-of-the-mill standard real estate professional from adopting Web3 and cryptocurrencies with open arms, right? So they typically put it in the too hard basket, and they don't want to work with someone that's got crypto that wants to buy a home. That's a problem. The even larger problem, though, is the affordability issue, right? So what we've seen is that over time, specifically the last 40 years, we've seen that income has grown unequally to prices, right? There's many factors that lead to that outcome, but the fact is right now today, it costs more to get a home. It's harder to get your deposit. It's harder to pay the bills. And a lot of people are feeling that pinch. And as a result, there are entire cohorts of people that will unfortunately never be able to own their own home, which is quite sad. So what we see is a real opportunity for Web3 technology to empower people to be able to start to build that initial wealth and then ultimately get themselves their home, and then hopefully get themselves an investment property, and then continue to, build out that portfolio for themselves and their family. So there's some really unique opportunities available from the new technologies that are out right now.
And I talked about this with Jared earlier, your partner, and it's just such an amazing idea. I would like you to share a little bit about this more, about the tokenized partial ownership, because it's just a crazy thing. Like, we always think about this, that it's possible with a token, with a digital thing, but we never talked about it, that an investment can be also like that, just like shares. So it's such an exciting idea that you had together with Jared. Tell me a bit more about this.
Absolutely. So, look, we're approaching the affordability problem from a couple of angles. So, the first one is we're like, okay, how can we take Web3 tech and create a vehicle that helps people save money faster? And for that outcome, we created a staking system. So, staking is like a high interest savings account, right? You lock something up and then you generate a yield. So what we've created is a way for you to generate a 20% yield to spend directly on real estate. So that's a nice, easy fix there. But then other opportunities that you've got, okay, well, traditionally I'd need to save up all the money to buy a house. And, what if I don't have $500,000 sitting there to buy a home? But I do have a spare $100 a week, right? And this is where tokenization comes into place. And what tokenization is effectively representing a real world asset on chain, effectively, right? So it's digitizing a real world asset like real estate. Obviously, you can do debts and other things as well, and that's a whole different conversation. But for us, it's all about real estate assets. So let's imagine, right? You've got, okay, I'll give you a real example. So even imagine. So we right now are in the process of finalising a $500 million fund. So it's called the Black Tie Australian Property Fund. And we've got $500 million that we've raised to that. We're buying $500 million worth of property here in Australia. We've got the first $180 million worth of property settling in January. And these are all properties that have been sourced based on where they are, location, rental returns, all the things that matter, right? So we are renting these out, letting them stabilize. And then what we're doing is we're going to take this whole portfolio, right, $500 million, and we're going to tokenize the lot. And this is where it gets really exciting, right? So imagine you've got $100 there each week, and you're like, oh, I don't want to leave it sitting in my bank account. Oh, that crypto stuff after FTX and all of the players like basically falling out of the sky, right? They're like, oh, I don't really want to play with that, but maybe, real estate's always been a safe bet. So imagine taking that $100 and buying $100 worth of a portfolio each week. After 52 weeks, you got $5,200 worth of this portfolio. And the cool thing about that is that, number one, if it's a positively geared portfolio like we're doing, that's going to generate you a small yield, right? All automated, all done on chain, nice and easy. But not just that. If you, for example, let's pretend that each token that you buy is worth $1, just a simple math. Imagine that you bought your $5,200 worth of tokens at the price of $1. But then because the property's value increased over 12 months, 24 months, that token that represents that stake in that property goes from $1 up to $1.80, up to $2.20 based on the property's value. Number one, you've got the yield all the way through from the rental returns, and you've also got the appreciation in the value of your tokens. It's so cool, right? It's really, really cool. It's like, imagine walking down the street and going, hey, that building right there, see that one? I own that window.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, like that chimney is mine. Something like that.
My chimney. Santa Claus best not be going down there.
No, I love the idea. It's just amazing what new opportunities digital can bring to the table. I was talking to Rebecca, and she will come back. She's in a business of rare earth metals, and people can earn rare earth metals, and then that's also something like an investment in this space. And then hearing about property, that just makes me like talk again about Manoj, about abundance of opportunities and abundance of prosperity that is still hidden for many people. So there is a lot of opportunities if we see them, if we are opening our ears. But also there is another side that I want you to answer me or to help me with is the insecurity, is the lot of scams. It's the lot of things that people just try to do. But how can I, who doesn't understand anything about it, trust the source that, okay, this is something 100% new. It has never been done before. And how can I feel that my little money that I earned will be safe with you?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, if the recent weeks are anything,
let's just revise all of human history and say that there's no such thing as too big to fail, right? This is blanket that for like the last couple of 100 years worth of human history. No, I joke, but in all seriousness, right? This Web3 crypto blockchain space it is much more regulated than it was back in 2018, but it's still got a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still got a long way to go, and you know, I'm more libertarian in regards to my mindset and my personality. However, at the same time, I'm also about consumer protection. And this is the fine line that we need to walk when it comes to how do you regulate this stuff, right? Because we don't want regulation to come in that stifles innovation or creates government overreach, right? You know, they like to dip into our pockets, don't they? But at the same time, we want to make sure that the end user, the consumer, is protected. And we've seen in the recent weeks this whole FTX thing, and then FTX was giving money to all these other players, and then Crypto.com, BlockFi, like it's just every day I wake up and there's a new one. It's like 2017, 18 all over again, right? So the answer is to, you know, how can you protect yourself? How can you protect your money? Look, at the end of the day, by all observable metrics, when you looked at FTX, like they had all the benchmarks of a company that were doing the right thing. So I think to a degree, sometimes these black swan events happen where you don't expect it. They completely just come and ruin everything, right? Everybody gets wrecked. That's effectively what's happened the last couple of weeks. Now, aside from these random black swan events, what can you do? Look at the project. Look at the project, the people involved, what they're looking to achieve, what they've achieved in the past, and also then run it by the simple filter of, does this make sense? Right? So if you log onto a website and it's promising you 200,000% returns, like you have to stop for a second and go, hang on a second, does that make sense? Is that realistic? And also, am I just falling for marketing? Because, you know, what sometimes these projects do is they offer like 500% returns for the first 60 minutes. And then you come into it 5 days later, but they haven't updated their marketing message. So really, you're just getting like a 5% return, if that. So number one, look at what the project's doing. If you like it, if it makes sense, if it's like around your interests, keep investigating more. Number two, take a look at the team. Are the team anonymous? Are the team doxed? Like, for example, us at Black Tie, you know, I'm Todd Pierce. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. I've got videos dating back years and years and years. You can find Jared, our CEO, Caroline, like we're doxed. And that just adds another level of, I hate using the word, but trust, right? You know who we are. Not just that, then you have to look at, okay, well, where's the company located? These are all things that you can do to increase your confidence about making a purchase decision, right? So you look at FTX, they've got their location based out of the Bahamas. Okay. You know, with us, everything's based out of Australia. So we're a registered Australian company, registered Australian directors, registered Australian bank accounts. We've got the registered Australian licenses, right? You know, we've got the security, the remitters license, digital currency exchange licenses. So these are all things that you can look at when you're looking at a project, is what kind of licensing do they have? What kind of regulation are they abiding by, if any? It's completely offshored. Who are the people involved? Does the project make sense? They're the main things I look for. And I admit, I sometimes do punt, right? I'll go for a punt. I'm like, I know nothing about this token at all, but I've got to spare $1,000 and I'm happy to lose it. And that's probably the last thing, right? When it does come down to what you do spend in high risk investments, right, or purchases, you know, spend what you're willing to lose. Never, I always tell people, never, ever go and get a loan to buy crypto or to buy some high risk asset. You never do that. It's like, okay, I've got this money. I'm happy to lose it. I don't want to lose it. I've done my research. It makes sense. It stacks up. All the I's are crossed and the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. And then, yeah, pull the trigger and see how it goes.
I love these points. I just wrote it here. So guys, if you want to see these projects or any of these projects, always follow these points. It's very, very good points here. Thank you for sharing, Todd. And I think also what you mentioned, that never ever spend something that you don't have or what you are depending on, because that's also something that we always have to just bear in mind, that yeah, if we have the spare money, then why not? It's the same like buying a book. We are investing in our future. Or if we are buying a coaching program, then we are investing into our future. It's exactly the same, that whether it happens or not, the transformation or the change, it's also on us, right? Whether we are doing the work, whether we are showing up, whether we are following the news, whether we are checking which book we buy. So it's exactly the similar in business. And I'm happy that you shared this with us. Thank you so much, Todd.
You're welcome. One other thing too, and this is particularly prevalent in the crypto space, is, if you are looking into the crypto space and you're relatively new, also don't fall for the hype, right? Because what a lot of these projects do is they pay, a bucket load of money to these quote unquote influencers. And what's their job? It's in the name. Their job is to influence you to part with your money. So, just be cognizant that it's the idea makes sense. The team seems solid. What they're looking to achieve seems realistic. And, me personally, I'm a little bit put off when I see too much hype around a project. I'm like, what are they trying to hide with all this hype? So anyway, these are just things I consider when I'm looking at spending money with crypto projects.
I love it. And then about the Back to Black Tie Digital, it's already such a nice name. I just wanted to always ask Gerard or you, like, what's behind black tie? Why black tie?
Black tie is because it's corporate. So, our behind black tie is a company called Progressive Investment Management. And under that banner of companies are a number of businesses. But number one is BBX. We've been running the largest commercial trade platform for the last 30 odd years, since 1991, I think that was started. We've been doing commercial and residential real estate for about 20 years, alternative lending, so helping people get deposits for homes, for about 15, 20 years as well. So, we've come, this is how we got into Web3 and blockchain though. So we've come from the very traditional corporate sector, already doing all this stuff. And now it's like, well, okay, how can we integrate what we're already doing with the opportunities that are presented by Web3 technologies like DeFi, like blockchain, like crypto, like tokenization, all this really cool stuff.
I think that's also the point that we are here this weekend to explore digital transformation. So there are a lot of challenges for companies to get into digital transformation, but there are also a lot of opportunities. So what do you think is benefit for you as company to, after so many years in the traditional market, to jump into this and to explore what's there for you?
Look, I like, this is just me speaking right now. I like the idea of there's times when centralization is good and there's times when decentralization is good. But I also really do like let's talk about DeFi for a minute, right? So DeFi is effectively all the things that you can do with regular finance, but you're doing it yourself. You're your own bank. So like, instead of me going to the bank and getting a loan, it's like, hey, I've got this spare $10,000 here. You are looking for $5,000 to go and replace the coffee machine that just broke at your cafe. We do a peer-to-peer transaction. I, charge X% interest. That goes directly to me. There's no middle bank that's taking their little filthy cut. So I find that really appealing. And I also like the sovereignty and the empowering nature that comes from blockchain technology. Like, for example, I'll go back to the Be For Real example with tokenization. Like, you can buy into a tokenized property portfolio and then you can sell out of it whenever you want. You don't need to talk to a lawyer or the bank or anyone to be able to do that transaction. I find that very liberating. And when you look at this other, like, traditional businesses, as we keep going down the track, right, I think we're going to start to see really cool things happen with how businesses can use
Web3 technology. Like right now, a lot of businesses do things like rewards programs. Yeah. Imagine instead of this having a points-based reward system, you have a token-based reward system or an NFT-based reward system. So someone comes in, they spend $100 with you, that automatically credits them an NFT that gives them X value, right? X access to this thing. Maybe imagine you're a coach, right? And someone comes and spends with you. You give them, you can, so much goes up here. You give them an NFT that gives them access to this program, that program, and this program. And then if they successfully do 6 months worth of coaching with you, that gets upgraded to something else and it unlocks a whole new range of features. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool what you can do. And once again, I think we're only scratching the surface right now in regards to where this will go. And a whole lot more people a lot smarter than me will come on and have just even better ideas about how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, this is something that has just started. And as we say, because it's an open market, it's a new market. And because it's decentralized, the ideas and the opportunities are just endless, right? Because all of us is putting our own head inside, and then all together it creates new ideas. So it just accelerates how it grows. It's just much faster than we would do it alone.
Exactly.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the insights. We have a few more minutes left until we finish and Mirjana is coming to the studio. But before we leave, I would like to ask you a little bit more about some fears that people are facing, because we already talked about it, that the market, the risky business, and so, a lot of things happening. We don't know who to trust. But then on the other side, with decentralized finance, it's also these invisible wallets that are always there, and this trust of, okay, do I really have that share? Do I really have that token? Is it really mine? And I meet with this, many people are asking me about this, and you are in this field, so you can give us also some tips about this and make that fear go away. So how can I know that is something that I can access only? How can I know that token, if I buy that partial property, it's exactly assigned to me, legally binding, that it's my property?
Yeah. Okay, so that was a loaded question. So let's start with the let's start with this. So in our group, I'm what you would call the Bitcoin maximalist. Now, I'm not a complete Bitcoin maximalist. I'm like an 80%. I'm like 80% on the spectrum. Every day I feel like I get further and further along on the spectrum, to be completely fair. But there's a saying, and we say it, us Bitcoin maxis all the time. We say, not your keys, not your crypto. So that's like the age-old saying, not your keys, not your crypto, not your keys, not your crypto. Do not leave your crypto on a centralized exchange. Just don't do it. Do not do it. It's not an intelligent thing to do, because as we saw with FTX, they had all these people's money. Oh, they actually didn't, which was the problem. They were lending out everybody's money, which would not have been possible if everybody had their tokens and their coins on cold storage, which means that it's yours. You've got it, right? You're the only one that can access it. That's the first thing. Number two, because the second part of that question directly related to what we're doing with property. In regards to the legal aspect, so we have to differentiate between Australia and other countries. So in America, they've got a much more relaxed, I'm not entirely sure what Singapore is like, to be completely honest. But you're in Singapore or Malaysia?
Malaysia, but I'm moving to Singapore soon, so not so far.
I've got a friend in Singapore right now, so I was confused. So in America, you can effectively take a deed of ownership, right? And you can put it on chain. Nice and easy, and you can transfer that and do all that kind of good stuff. In Australia, it doesn't exactly work like that. So when people buy the tokens in our property fund that we're tokenizing in the next 24 months, what you're buying in Australia is you're buying the rights to some form of value. So that right could be the rights to governance, right? What you do with the property. It could be rights in regards to a yield, so rental returns. And obviously it's the right that if you buy at $1 and it goes to $1.80, I can sell at $1.80 as an example, yeah? In respect to ownership of the property though, that is actually stored in a trust, right? So the trust owns the property, and then you've got a legal agreement in place that basically says all of the tokens that have been created are basically linked to the property, yeah? So there's a legal framework there in Australia that happens. So you've got that security there, knowing that this is a legal arrangement, that when you buy these tokens via this vehicle, i.e. you buy it through this trust, big tokens and all that kind of good stuff, you've got that security there, yeah? So I think that's important too, because sometimes you look overseas, and America does a lot of cool stuff, right? They've got like really cool innovation over there. And sometimes we sit here in Australia and we're like, oh, wow, they're doing some cool stuff. I wonder if we can do it. And then you go and you speak to the lawyer, and the lawyer's like, no. So, you know, I don't know if we will get to that point where we can take a title and put that on chain here in Australia, just because it needs to go through so many different bodies and you know, different hands to get that complete. But we could. But right now, the way that it works is that there's a legal framework in place between the trust that owns the property and the tokens that get created. So when you buy those tokens, you've got that protection there.
Love it. Thank you for the transparent explanation. I think that's what we need today, transparent explanations about everything, how it works, so that we understand, and then we can be part of it. And I'm really thankful for you and Jared for making this opportunity for those who cannot afford to buy a more $1 million property, but they would like to gain on the property market and just gain some money with some other tokenized opportunities. So thank you so much for the share, Todd. It was amazing to have you here. Very inspiring. Have a more ideas like this, inclusive for everyone out there. And I'm 100% sure that regulation will follow and everything will be optimized for us to do so, and more people will get access to this market. Thank you so much, Todd, and thank you for Black Tie. Just as a last few information, where can people reach out to you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Apologies for the internet issues at the start. We made it there eventually. Where to find us? So you can obviously reach out and be in contact with me directly on LinkedIn. Is the easiest place. Todd Pierce on LinkedIn. You can follow us on socials as well. We're on Be For Real is our the current platform we're launching. So Be the number 4 and then Real, Be For Real Official on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And yeah, if you message us through those platforms, we're always happy to have a conversation. And as you can see, my background's European. I can talk. So always happy to chat, guys.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day there in Australia. And thank you for coming and joining the Empowerment Summit. And again, just send some regards to Jared, and let's make him feel better and get better very soon.
Thank you very much. See you all later. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, so changing speakers. Mirjana is already in the studio, and this is the second talk of this afternoon, where we will continue to explain further about the new opportunities of digital. And I'm so excited to bring her up. I will just push this button, and here you go. Hi, Mirjana. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Andrea?
I'm good. Having fun with all the speakers, bringing so much value and amazing information. You can imagine my head after the 4 weeks of listening to all of you with all these amazing, inspiring ideas. So thank you for being here, Mirjana. How are you today?
Doing very well. So I'm currently in Belgium. Here it's still early morning, and everything is good. It's been a busy week, but happy to be with you.
How is the Belgian chocolate?
Very good. It's very good. I love chocolate. I also love Swiss chocolate. It's a bit sweeter. Belgian chocolate is healthier. It's darker. And yeah, I invite everybody to come to Belgium and try our chocolate and beer.
I love the square in Brussels, the main square. I just love that place. I almost moved to Brussels, you know.
Yes, you told me. Almost moved to Brussels. You need to come and visit.
I will definitely. Some friends are still there. So Mirjana, let's just jump into the conversation. We have around 25 minutes together, and I want to explore as much as possible. Before I bring up your topic, Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Mirjana and what's your purpose?
Yeah, so basically, I have more than 15 years of experience working for the European government, the European Union. That's why actually I live in Brussels, because it's the hub of the EU. And for the past almost 10 years, I've been an entrepreneur. So I've also traveled the world. I've been to over 100 countries, 105 to be precise. So I actually collect countries. I know people have various hobbies. I collect countries, which is a very expensive hobby to have. And I've been to Singapore as well. You said you're moving there, Asia, many times. And so basically, when I traveled around the world, I just saw a lot of business opportunities, and this inspired me to become an entrepreneur. And it influenced my businesses in many ways. And yeah, so I am currently running my second startup, launching my third. So I'm like a serial tech entrepreneur based in Belgium and New York. I'm also now spending a lot of time in Dubai, which is really developing as a new Web3 hub. And yeah, so I love the world. I love many cultures. I love traveling, and I love being in this Web3 space now.
I love it. I think Jag, one of the viewers, she will love it because she's also collecting a lot of things. So,
Nice.
and she loves to travel. So I think you already have a lot in common with the audience.
That's
So
great.
coming closer to your topic about Web3, I always ask the speakers to tell us a little bit about what's behind for you in this title. What does this title mean to you? How will Web3 change the tech space? Because we all different. So these definitions sometimes mean different things to people. So tell us a little bit about your perspective and your view on Web3.
Yeah, so basically in New York, I'm actually a member of Forbes Business Club, and I write for Forbes. And I have written about, Web3, blockchain, NFTs, and tokens and the future technology. And now when I was a little bit researching Web3, I basically saw, and this is something how I perceive Web3. The Web 1 started in the 90s, and it was the beginning of the internet that we all know. And then the shift to Web 2 began really in the early 2000s. The biggest shift between Web 1 and Web 2 was about the users. So basically in Web 2, the users became content creators. As we know, with social media, with Facebook, suddenly you weren't just a receiver of, let's say, internet services, but you became an active participant, which I really love. And actually, that's my favorite part about social media. It's because everybody becomes visible, and you can actually, launch your business from any location. It just becomes very participative. And I think Web3 is kind of an upgrade of that kind of technology, which started around 2013, 14. I actually read that the term itself, Web3, was coined by Polkadot founder and Ethereum co-founder Gavin Wood in 2014. And it really refers to the decentralized online ecosystem based on blockchain. And basically, since last year, Web3 is really gaining in popularity. And as you know, Facebook came out with the whole metaverse concept. So the way I see Web3, honestly, is really the new age of internet. It's really linked to the fact that the users become content creators. But then there's this whole decentralized aspect, which can be very positive because basically, again, it's another level of user experience. And I see Web3 also in a much more wider form. So I think I see it beyond the blockchain, the tokens, the NFTs. I also think it really includes the whole virtual world. And I think it's important because what happened during COVID is that, prior to COVID and the pandemic, when the world shut down, our world was very much physical. I mean, we had the Web 2, but our world was very physical. And then what happened, during the pandemic is that everything shut down. And me as a traveler, I have to say I really suffered because I'm just used to, hopping on planes and, going around. So in my head, what the Web3 brings is really the whole virtual kind of world, where you can travel virtually. So for me, really, it's a shift towards the virtual. And if you are, let's say, stuck in a home, and if a new pandemic breaks out, you can basically you can use the metaverse, you can use the Web3 to kind of still be part of the virtual community. And I really think it's the future. I see it like that. I think younger generations from very young age, they live in the metaverse, and I think it's still healthy to stay in the physical world, but why not combine it with the virtual world? And I think it's positive. I think it's positive for businesses, because as we know, a lot of businesses suffered when the physical world shut down. So I think it's actually positive to add the virtual part to your business. I think it's actually more, I would say, crisis proof if you cover all options. So actually, my startup is called Lookstyler, and we are a Web3 platform for virtual fashion tourism. So we cover actually the travel experience, the hybrid experience, and now the virtual. So we cover all three experiences. And being in travel, as I said, I during the pandemic realized that it's important to also have the virtual possibility.
I think it's something like I'm making notes because there are so many questions popping up my hand, and sometimes I make the mistake to ask 3 questions at the same time. So let me start with the first one. So about the change, I think it's compared or can be related to something like 2D versus 3D, right? If people want to imagine it, how it looks like in 2D, you can see something on a flat paper, you can write something on it, but you cannot really share it with others right now. You have to put that stamp on it, you have to send it out on the post, and they have to receive it. And if anything happens with the postman, then maybe your message is not going out. But then entering into this 3D world, then you can access millions of postmans, like without any interruption, or if one interruption happens, the other one still can send a message, and the message is reaching not just one house, but it's reaching a lot of people out in the world. Plus it also gives you an opportunity to share it in a different way, like you do your fashion tourism, which is just putting it into a different context, into a different environment, right?
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, I think actually the way I see it, it's really like democratization of the internet, where basically you can just go online, as you say, and you can easily reach out to so many people. And from the business perspective, I think it's positive. Like if we look at some of the newest technologies on social media, like TikTok and Instagram Reels, and everything that's popping up now in the metaverse, different metaverses where people can just create their avatars, and the success we have seen with some NFT collections. I think you can really become an overnight success very quickly, and as you say, you can scale quickly. You can easily reach out to maybe thousands of people that you couldn't before, and you can basically really scale your business in a much faster way than ever possible before. So this is, I see it as very positive for business building.
So what made you venture into startups? Because startups can be scary for some people sometimes, and I think this is also something very empowering. Your story as a startup owner and later funder or even investor in the future. So what makes you so passionate about this space, and why do you think it's a great opportunity for new businesses to start with a startup right now and pitch your idea?
Yeah, for me, it was really something I felt inside. It was like a passion. So I was really passion driven. And actually, when I entered the world of startups, which was back in 2014, I didn't know much about startups. I just had this kind of inner drive and inner desire and passion to launch my own business. So I think you should definitely go into startups and entrepreneurship if you feel that it's like part of your mission. Or let's say, I would say you need to feel the inner calling. Because if you're just doing it because it's, hype, or it's something amazing, or what everybody's doing, or you're doing it to make a lot of money, I don't think you will be happy. I think you should really do it if it's part of your inner drive, your inner passion. And this was my case. And then once I got into it, I started developing my first startup, which was a fashion platform with customized clothing. I then kind of went into Lookstyler, my second startup, which blended, fashion and travel. And now I'm launching Heap, which will be a Web3 investment fund for early stage startups. So I think it's kind of a journey that evolves and basically continues as you go along. But I think it's, as you know, entrepreneurship is very challenging, especially because the environment changes all of the time. As we have seen, especially in the last 2-3 years, it's just like it's a roller coaster and you just need to adapt so quickly. And so it's definitely something that should also kind of be part of your personality. Like, I'm somebody who is very creative, I'm very adaptable, but entrepreneurship actually teaches you to kind of develop those skills even further. So I definitely think you should go into it if it's part of your inner passion.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I think that is always the best part, because we can learn from all of you, from your own personal experience. You have been there, you went through it, you pitched your idea, you made your entrepreneurship, and now you are becoming the mentor for other entrepreneurs to do the same. And it's just a beautiful journey. About the Lookstyler, the fashion tourism, which is something new. I guess the idea is existing, but the way how you do it, it's something totally new and it's disrupting the market. Can you tell us a little bit more about the fashion tourism and the Lookstyler brand? What it is exactly, and how is it changing the way how fashion works, and why tourism?
Yeah. So first, going back to the first point you made, so about inner passion, I really think the true happiness comes from, following your dreams, but then it should also be linked with helping other people. And I think the way how entrepreneurs help other people is really by creating jobs. Because we generate a lot of jobs, new market opportunities. We hopefully make customers happy, and we bring other ideas to the customers. Like, for example, Amazon created so many opportunities for like smaller retailers, for people who could just go online and sell things. So basically, I really believe that your inner passion should be dedicated for others. And as you said, I now basically mentor a lot of other early stage startups. I want to invest in them. I do already help them, as an angel, as a board advisor. I'm very big on helping female entrepreneurs. As you know, like, there's basically still a more male predominant presence in the tech sector. So I definitely think the inner passion should be linked with helping others. Now, going back to Lookstyler, so basically we are a marketplace for, physical, hybrid, and virtual fashion tourism in 70 locations. It really started with me traveling around the world, shopping in different continents, places, countries, where I saw that the shopping experience can be very culturally based, and it's different, right, from every location. So just to give an example, what we do is we bring together fashion stylists and designers in 70 cities with the travel community and the shopping community. So let's say that you are in Singapore and you want to go traveling to Paris. So what we organize is a so-called shopping experience. So the first one that we started with back in 2018 was really the travel one. So you actually travel to Paris, and we connect you with the local stylist or designer and take you shopping on a personalized shopping experience. So it's usually like a half day, it can be a full day shopping tour. And then during COVID and in recent years, we added the hybrid and virtual. So the hybrid one is, let's say that you cannot travel or you're too busy to travel. So you stay in Singapore, but the stylist in Paris is using VR technology to show you the items that we can ship over. So you are shopping with VR technology. We are developing a partnership with various partners like Oculus, for example. And then the third option is really virtual. So you stay at home, you don't travel, you travel virtually, but you can go into the metaverse, which we are building now. You can click on the desired shopping location. We are also launching our own token that you will be able to use as a member to enter the metaverse. And then basically you can shop virtually. We will also be launching a limited edition of NFTs in a digital form, so both physical and virtual. and you'll be able to buy those NFTs as part of our community. So it's about building the community in this space, and it's about offering both physical, hybrid, and virtual experience in this sector.
And I think there is a very important thing here that is hiding between the lines, which is accessibility, because some people may not be able to travel because of financial issues, or maybe they cannot travel because of physical hindrance or physical problems, right? So there is a very important message here that the Web3 metaverse and the digital version of our lives can also help us to make it more accessible for people who normally cannot access some things, right? In a more fulfilled way, in a more visual way, in a more like sensible way through the VR glasses and through this experience, right?
Exactly. So this is I think how I see Web3 and the metaverse, and why I personally like it so much. It's really accessibility. Let's say that you are, somewhere in India and you want to experience Milan or New York. Maybe you cannot go, it's too far away, or for whatever reason, you cannot be there. So you can literally go there in a virtual space with a few clicks. And this is how I see the future of web evolving. This is Web3 for me. One is really the participation of users, but the other one is really about the accessibility of the world with a few clicks. And I think it's also about, bringing forward the more, cultural specificities. So for example, with Look Styler, we really work on promoting local artists. So let's say that you go to Shanghai, or you go to Rio de Janeiro, or you go to Mexico or Cape Town. For me, as a traveler, especially as a global citizen, it's all about really getting connected to the local culture. And how many people get to go to all of these countries in one lifetime? So very few, right? I'm like one of the exceptions, and I feel so blessed I was able to do it. But let's say if you're at home and you just want to go to Cape Town, imagine that you can just enter the virtual world, and maybe with the VR technology, you can really see Cape Town. And it can happen in one day. And basically you have a certain experience where you can maybe even purchase something from Cape Town. And it's just so much more accessible, as you are saying. This is why I think the metaverse is the future, because I think it's about accessibility. I think it's about democratization of the whole process. And it's about, offering more opportunities to people. And it's about connecting people even closer, and especially people from different cultures.
I love your passion and amazing share. Thank you so much, Mirjana. And please, guys, check out Mirjana, follow on LinkedIn, follow the activities, try it out, try out these new technologies. Like even Ajahn is saying, super cool hybrid VR, augmented reality, we realize your dreams to travel the world, which is so true, because until now we just could see documentary movies, but with the new technology coming up, which, okay, it will take a few years. Let's just be honest that it will take some time. But when it gets there, it will be really like an experience that can be also physical later. So it's kind of a, exciting world we are living in. Exciting new things are happening. And thank you, Mirjana, for driving it for women, for artists, for people, for travelers like you. Thank you so much for your energy and for your investment and effort into this, empowering others. So where can people reach you? Because we have to switch the studio. Someone else is waiting on the other side for another interview. So where can people reach you? What are the forums, and what is exactly what you're focusing on right now?
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you have maybe Andrea, you can put my LinkedIn profile in the chat, or just feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or social media. I'm very active on LinkedIn. As I said, I'm currently building out this virtual travel and fashion metaverse. I'm also building a Web3 investment fund, which will invest in early stage startups. It's international. And so if you're interested in Web3, metaverse, tech space, in any form, feel free to reach out to me. I always love to connect with new people. So, and thank you so much for this opportunity, Andrea. It was so nice to be part of this panel, of this interview. And yeah, hope to stay connected in the future. And I am sending a big hug to everybody who was listening, and hope to see you soon.
From Europe to Malaysia. Thank you so much. Bye bye, Miriana. Have a beautiful day.
You as well. Bye bye.
Bye.